The unexpected truth about Prince Harry has just been revealed by Pope Francis, surprising everyone. Pope Francis, who is known for his unfaltering candor, has sparked a global frenzy of curiosity and controversy with his most recent remarks. What on earth could the Pope have said about the most distinguished member of the British royal family? Could this surprising development alter our perception of Prince Harry? Come explore the terrible truth about Prince Harry that Pope Francis recently shared with us. A glance at Prince Harry's background and influence is in order before we get into the meat of Pope Francis's remarks. Prince Harry's early life. Royal family member of Britain, Prince Harry, Duke of Sussex, second son of King Charles III and Diana, Princess of Wales. He is fifth in line to the British throne. Harry underwent officer training at the Royal Military Academy Sandhurst after being educated at Wetherby School, Ludgrove School, and Eton College. Originally commissioned as a cornet in the Blues and Royals, he temporarily accompanied William, his elder brother. Harry was on active duty twice, sent to Afghanistan. First in 2007 to 2008 for 10 weeks in Helmand Province, and once again for 20 weeks with the Army Air Corps in 2012 and 2013, inspired by the Warrior Games in the United States. Harry started the Invictus Games in 2014 as its original sponsor and stays active outside of his royal duties. 2 years later, Harry co-founded the mental health campaign Heads Together with his brother William and sister-in-law Catherine. Before wed American actress Meghan Markle, Harry was bestowed with the Duke of Sussex title in 2018. Born on 15 September 1984 at the Lindo Wing at St. Mary's Hospital, Paddington, London. Prince Harry is the second child of Charles, Prince of Wales, later King Charles III, and Diana, Princess of Wales, under the rule of his paternal grandmother, Queen Elizabeth II, with Robert Runcie, the Archbishop of Canterbury, presiding. He was baptized Henry Charles Albert David on December 21, 1984, at St. George's Chapel at Windsor Castle. From an early age, his family, acquaintances, and the public knew him as Harry. His brother frequently called him Harold. Growing up raised in Kensington Palace in London and Highgrove House in Gloucestershire, he and his elder brother William, unlike former royal children, Diana wanted her kids to have more varied life experiences and a closer awareness of daily life. She brought them to Walt Disney World, McDonald's, AIDS clinics, and homeless shelters, among other sites. Early on, Harry began joining his parents on official travels. 1985 saw his first abroad trip to Italy. In both 1991 and 1998, he also accompanied his family to Canada. 1996 saw Harry's parents officially file for divorce. He and William were visiting with their father at Balmoral Castle when their mother sadly died in a car accident in Paris the next year. Their father leaked word of her death, along with his father, brother, grandfather Prince Philip, Duke of Edinburgh, and Uncle Charles Spencer, 9th Earl Spencer. 12-year-old Harry marched behind the funeral procession from Kensington Palace to Westminster Abbey. When Harry and William turned 30, each of them inherited most of the €12,900,000 left by their mother, which had grown to €10 million for each by 2014. They also inherited her wedding dress in that year, along with many personal items including dresses, diamond tiaras, jewels, letters, and artwork. Bernie Taupin and Elton John's original Candle in the Wind, lyrics and sheet music were also given to them. John played them at Diana's burial. Harry would inherit most of the money left by the Queen Mother for the two boys. William, in line to the throne, would ultimately get additional financial advantages. Was the guy Prince Harry would have become revealed in his early years? Does this have a bearing on what the Pope said about him? Watch closely to learn. Harry's education years. Following in the footsteps of both his father and his brother, Harry received his education in private schools. The first place he attended was Jane Minor's Nursery School in London. After that, he transferred to Wetherby School, which is a pre-preparatory school. Furthering his schooling, he attended Ludgrove School, which is located in Berkshire. Having achieved success on the entrance examinations, he was granted admission to Eton College. His grandparents, father, 2 uncles, and 2 cousins had all attended Gordonstown. Thus, this choice signified a departure from the family history of going there. Each of these individuals had attended Gordonstown. On the other hand, it was in line with the courses of action that his brother and his mother's family had pursued since both her father and her brother had attended Eton High School. As part of what came to be known as the pressure cooker agreement, the royal family and the press came to an agreement that Harry would get his education without any excessive interference, and that he would be given the opportunity for infrequent photographs. Harry finished his studies at Eton in June of 2003, earning 2 A-levels after completing his studies there. He decided to discontinue history of art after completing his AS levels, and as a result, he obtained a mark of B in art and a grade of D in geography. The fact that he participated in both competitive polo and rugby union has earned him the reputation of being an athlete of the highest caliber. Sarah Forsyth, his former instructor, referred to him as a poor student and said that Eton personnel had plotted to assist him in cheating on examinations. However, both Eton and Harry have confirmed that these allegations are not true, despite the fact that a tribunal did not reach a conclusion about the claims of cheating. It did accept that Harry had received help with his A-level expressive project, which was required for his placement at Sandhurst. Furthermore, Harry became a member of the Joint Cadet Force at Eton, and during his final year, he served as a cadet officer, as well as the leader of the yearly march that takes place during the Eton Tattoo. After completing his education, Harry decided to take a year off. In addition to taking part in the Young England versus Australia match, he also spent some of his time working as a jackaroo on a cattle ranch in Australia. Match between young Australian polo players. In addition, he traveled to Lesotho, where he contributed to the production of the documentary film The Forgotten Kingdom, Prince Harry in Lesotho, as well as worked with destitute children. In what ways did Prince Harry decide to devote his life to helping others? Well, let's find out. Harry's military years. Harry started training at the Royal Military Academy Sandhurst on May 8, 2005, having passed the Normal Commissions Board in September 2004. After joining Alamein Company, he was known as Officer Cadet Wales. A knee ailment kept him out of the game for 4 months. After completing his officer training, Harry was commissioned as a cornet in the Household Cavalry Regiment, the Blues and Royals. By April 2006, upon achieving 2 years of seniority, he was promoted to lieutenant on April 13, 2008. The news in 2006 that Harry's unit was scheduled to deploy to Iraq the following year sparked discussion regarding his participation in that country. Harry would not be allowed near the front lines in any deployment, according to a Ministry of Defense announcement. While he was required to do a variety of tasks, a spokesperson pointed out that his prominence may put him and his unit in risk. John Reed, the Secretary of Defense, fought for Harry's eligibility to serve in war zones. Harry expressed sympathy for this viewpoint, saying, "I wouldn't have survived Sandhurst or be where I am now if they had said, 'No, you can't go front line.'" He returned to his regiment in Windsor by October 2006, having completed the troop leader's training, and assumed leadership of a troop including 4 Scimitar reconnaissance vehicles and 11 troops. At a joint statement released on February 22, 2007, the Ministry of Defense at Clarence House announced that Harry and his regiment would be sent to Iraq as part of the 3rd Mechanized Division's 1st Mechanized Brigade. Harry was in favor of this choice since he had already threatened to quit the army if he had to wait for his unit to go to war. General Sir Richard Dannett, the then commander of the British Army, said on April 30, 2007, that Harry will take on the role of troop commander in Iraq, with his deployment to the Maysan Governorate scheduled for May or June 2007. But on May 16th, Dannett declared that Harry would not be sent to Iraq. Concerns about Harry becoming a high-value target due to threats from different organizations and the Unkiti, possible dangers to his fellow troops in the event of a capture or assassination attempt were factors in the decision. Afterwards, Clarence House said that while Harry was saddened by the choice, he accepted it. At RAF Leeming in the summer of 2007, Harry underwent Joint Terminal Attack Controller training. He was said to be in Canada by the beginning of June, training at CFB Suffield, close to Medicine Hat, Alberta, among both Canadian and British personnel. His training was meant to get him ready for deployment to Afghanistan, where British and Canadian soldiers were fighting in the NATO-backed war in Afghanistan. The British Ministry of Defence announced in February of the following year that Harry had spent the previous 10 weeks working covertly as a Joint Terminal Attack Controller in Helmand Province, Afghanistan. The media, notably the Australian magazine New Idea and the German newspaper Bild, broke the media blackout imposed by British and Canadian authorities to release this information. Harry was therefore pulled out of Afghanistan right away because of worries that the publicity would endanger both his and his fellow troops' safety. Subsequent reports claimed that Harry had performed patrol work in dangerous regions while overseas and had helped Gurkha forces resist a Taliban onslaught. Since his uncle, Prince Andrew, flew helicopters during the Falklands War, Harry is the first member of the British royal family to serve in a war zone. What was in store for Prince Harry after his time in the military? To discover out, keep watching. Prince Harry in HQ London District and Invictus Games. The Ministry of Defence said on January 17, 2014, that Harry was leaving the 3rd Regiment Army Air Corps and would be moving to HQ London District to take a position as a staff officer, or SO3, working from Horse Guards in central London. He would oversee significant projects and ceremonial events involving the Army in London in his new role. The Invictus Games, a Paralympic-style sporting competition for wounded military members, was first announced by Harry on March 6, 2014. It was held from September 10 to 14, 2014. On April 29, 2014, he had a meeting at Tedworth House in Wiltshire with British competitors for the Games to begin the selection process. As president, Harry tweeted from the official Games account on May 15, 2014, while attending the Invictus Games ticket announcement event at BT Tower. He made an appearance on BBC Radio 2 with Chris Evans and 2 hopeful Invictus Games competitors to promote the Games. He said, "Assuring the success of the Invictus Games is essentially my full-time job right now." The transmission of this interview took place on July 31, 2014. Harry then wrote a Sunday Times piece on his experiences in Afghanistan, which inspired him to help wounded military members and resulted in his vow to launch the Invictus Games after his attendance at the Warrior Games. Harry took part in the introduction of the British Armed Forces Squad for the Invictus Games at Pottersfield Park in August 2014 with officials. As president of the Games, he was present at all relevant events from September 8-14, 2014. According to sources in January 2015, Harry was going to take on a new position supporting injured service members. This new post would include working with the London District's Personal Recovery Unit as part of the MOD's Defence Recovery Capability Program, which was designed to make sure injured soldiers had efficient recovery plans. Later on, the palace said that the Royal British Legion and Help for Heroes worked together to create this program. Later that month, Harry paid visits to Fisher House UK at Queen Elizabeth Hospital, Birmingham, a joint venture between Help for Heroes, the Fisher House Foundation, the QEHB Charity, and the Battleback Centre, established by the Royal British Legion. One of the sponsors of the Invictus Games is the Fisher House Foundation. Harry also paid visits to Help for Heroes Recovery Centre, Phoenix House, in Catterick Garrison, North Yorkshire, and Merville Barracks in Colchester, which is home to the Chavis VC House Personnel Recovery Centre, which is run by Help for Heroes in collaboration with the Ministry of Defence and the Royal British Legion. In February and March of 2015, what changes did Prince Harry experience after his stay at HQ London District? Continue to observe. Harry's personal life. During an interview celebrating Harry's 21st birthday, Chelsea Davy, whose father is Charles Davy, a businessman from Zimbabwe, was identified as Harry's girlfriend. Although Harry expressed a desire to convey how great she was, He ultimately decided against doing so out of concern that doing so may result in misunderstandings. In addition to attending Harry's graduation ceremony, when his father presented him with his flying wings, Davy was there when Harry was given the Operational Service Medal for Afghanistan to honor his service in Afghanistan. At the beginning of 2009, it was communicated that the couple's 5-year relationship had come to an end. In his book, which he wrote in 2023, Harry says that following his separation with Davy, he was introduced to Caroline Flack, whom he described as being witty, nice, and sophisticated. A period of time passed during which they dated, but Harry believed that the intrusion of the media had irreversibly destroyed their relationship. While Flack was writing her own memoirs, she also recounted the time they spent together. It was via his cousin Princess Eugenie that Harry was introduced to Cressida Bonas, an actress and model. In the month of May 2012, Edward Curzon, 6th Earl Howe, is Bonas's grandfather, and Bonas is his granddaughter. According to reports, the pair had reached a mutually agreeable conclusion to their relationship by the 30th of April in 2014. Meghan Markle, an American actress, became Harry's girlfriend in the year 2016. Instagram was the medium via which they first became acquainted. However, they also revealed a blind date that had been arranged by a friend of theirs in July. As soon as their relationship became public knowledge, Harry gave his communications secretary the instruction to issue a statement on November 8, 2016, in which he addressed the unfavorable and erroneous remarks that were made about Markle by members of the media and internet critics. While attending the Invictus Games in Toronto in September 2017, they made their first public appearance together for the first time. On November 27, 2017, Harry's father made the announcement that they were going to become engaged. The announcement was welcomed with a warm reception, especially in Commonwealth nations that have varied populations. The 19th of May, 2018, was the day when they tied the knot in St. George's Chapel, which is located within Windsor Castle. In a subsequent interview with Oprah in 2021, they disclosed that they had secretly exchanged vows in their garden 3 days before the formal wedding, despite the fact that this private event was not legally recognized. The Duke and Duchess of Cambridge first called Nottingham Cottage, which is located on Kensington Palace grounds, their home. They rented Westfield Lodge on the Great Two Estate in the Cotswolds for a period of 2 years beginning in May of 2018. However, they ultimately decided to terminate the lease when paparazzi photographs of the residential house were made public. Despite the fact that they were considering moving into Apartment 1 at Kensington Palace, they finally decided to move into Frogmore Cottage, which was a gift from Queen Elizabeth II. The cottage was renovated by the Crown Estate at a cost of €2,400,000, which was funded by the sovereign grant. The Duke was responsible for financing any extra expenditures that went beyond the required upkeep. A boy named Archie was born to them on May 6, 2019. In the year 2019, following the conclusion of their official commitments in support of the Queen on March 31, 2020, their office relocated to Buckingham Palace and remained there until the 31st of March. In June 2020, after having spent time in both the United States and Canada, they made the decision to acquire a property in Montecito, California. During the month of July, the Duchess of Cambridge had a miscarriage, and on June 4, 2021, their daughter Lilibet was delivered. The Prince of Wales, in addition to his personal life, was confronted with a number of significant obstacles. Is it possible that these difficulties are? Maintain your attention to discover out. Prince Harry's health problems and the challenges he faces. In May of 1988, Harry had surgery to repair a small hernia. The next year, in November of 2000, he had a minor injury to his thumb while playing football at Eton, which required him to undergo treatment. Spare, his memoir, shows that he began using hard narcotics when he was 17 years old. Following rumors of his substance usage and drinking at Highgrove House and a nearby pub over the summer of 2001, he went to a drug treatment clinic with the help of his father, Charles, in order to meet with others who were battling with addiction. This took place in the year 2002. His testimony in court revealed that he never smoked at his father's home, despite the fact that he stated in his biography that he had used substances when he was attending Eton and while he was in Kensington Palace Gardens. In addition to this, he detailed in his biography his use of magic mushrooms at a party that took place at the residence of Courtney Cox in January of 2016. During an interview in 2017 on the podcast, Mad World, hosted by Bryony Gordon, Harry said that he had sought therapy with the assistance of his brother over the course of many years after the passing of their mother. He stated that he had suffered from aggressive behavior, that he had experienced anxiety when performing royal responsibilities, and that he had come dangerously near to giving up on himself several times. He began boxing as a means of coping with the emotional stress he was experiencing and channeling his fury. In addition to that, he said that in order to cope, he used alcohol and recreational drugs, such as psychedelics, ayahuasca, psilocybin, and mushrooms. Harry also characterized his experiences after the loss of his mother as being indicative of post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD. Harry said in the documentary on mental health titled The Me You Can't See that he had participated in treatment for a period of 4 years in order to address the difficulties he was experiencing with his mental health. This was supported by his future wife when they started dating. He said that he had panic attacks and acute anxiety while he was in his late 20s, and he mentioned that the rigorous schedule of official obligations finally led to burnout. In March of 2023, the Heritage Foundation sent a dossier to a number of federal institutions, asking them to investigate whether or not he had mentioned his history of drug abuse on his application for a visa to enter the United States. The following month, they filed a lawsuit against the United States Department of Homeland Security in an effort to get his immigration records. The facts of Harry's visa application were ordered to be provided by the United States government by a court in Washington, District of Columbia, in March of 2024. There will be a decision made by Judge Carl Nichols about whether or not the application may proceed. I am aware that you have been excitedly anticipating the big surprise, but before we get into that, I would want to ask you who Pope Francis is and why his statements have caused such a commotion. Stay tuned for more information. Pope Francis. Born Jorge Mario Bergoglio on December 17, 1936, Pope Francis is the ruler of Vatican City and head of the Catholic Church. Among other things, he is the first pope from the Society of Jesus, the first from the Americas and the Southern Hemisphere, and the first from outside Europe since Gregory III in the 8th century. Born in Buenos Aires, Argentina, Bergoglio worked as a bouncer and janitor among other professions in his early years before deciding to study chemistry and becoming a technician in a food science lab. Inspired to join the Jesuits in 1958 after a major illness, he was originally ordained as a Catholic priest in 1969. He oversaw Jesuit Provincial Superior in Argentina from 1973 to 1979. He became Buenos Aires' Archbishop in 1998. Pope John Paul II named him a cardinal in 2001. He led the Argentine Church somewhat actively during the December 2001 protests in Argentina. Nestor Kirchner and Cristina Fernandez de Kirchner saw him as a political rival. Following Pope Benedict XVI's resignation on February 28, 2013, a papal conclave elected Bergoglio as his successor on March 13. He took his name from St. Francis of Assisi. Renowned for his humility and focus on God's mercies, Francis has become well known worldwide for his dedication to the underprivileged and interreligious communication. Comparatively to his successors, his attitude to the Pope is seen to be less official. He decided to dwell at the guest house Domus Sancti Marti rather than the customary papal residence. Francis has a more sympathetic attitude toward the LGBT population and has pushed for women to be included in important jobs within the Roman Curia. He has made clear that anyone may have blessings even if same-sex couples cannot be blessed in a liturgical setting. Francis has also called for the eradication of the death sentence, as he believes it to be essentially wicked and a transgression of human dignity. His position on this matter is permanent for the Church. Pope Francis has been outspoken against the emergence of right-wing populism on the global scene and in favor of homosexuality's legalization. He secured an agreement with China over the Communist Party's impact in selecting bishops and was instrumental in restoring complete diplomatic ties between the United States and Cuba. But how did he grow to be among the most respected and responsible individuals of our day? Road to priesthood. While en route to celebrate Spring Day, Bergoglio realized he was meant to be a priest. The priest he met at a church while making his confession moved him. He entered the Society of Jesus as a novice on March 11, 1958. Following 3 years of study at the Inmaculada Concepcion Seminary in Villa Devoto, Buenos Aires, Bergoglio has said that he had a romance with a girl when he was a seminarian, which caused him to momentarily doubt his vocation. He studied the arts and philosophy in Santiago, Chile, when he was a novice Jesuit. He formally joined a Jesuit after his novitiate on March 12, 1960, and vowed poverty, chastity, and obedience as his initial and everlasting vows. Buenos Aires Province's Colosio Máximo de San Jose awarded Bergoglio a licentiate in philosophy in 1960. The institution is located in San Miguel, at Santa Fe's Colegio de la Inmaculada Concepcion. He was a teacher of literature and psychology from 1964 to 1965. He maintained his teaching of these topics in Buenos Aires Colegio del Salvador beginning in 1966. Bergoglio began his studies in theology at the School of Philosophy and Theology in San Miguel in 1967. He received the sacrament of holy orders from Archbishop Ramon José Castellano on December 13, 1969. During this time, he was also a teacher of theology and a master of novices. On April 22, 1973, Bergoglio made his final vows, including the particular vow of obedience to the Pope, and finished the last stage of Jesuit training, known as tertianship, at Alcalá de Henares, Spain. He served as the provincial superior of the Society of Jesus in Argentina for 6 years, from July of that year until 1979. The Yom Kippur War broke out during his presidency, interrupting his visit to Jerusalem. Bergoglio was appointed rector of San Miguel's Philosophical and Theological Faculty in 1980, after his tenure as provincial superior. Following his appointment as auxiliary bishop of Buenos Aires in 1992, Bergoglio was consecrated as the titular bishop of Auca on June 27, 1992. The consecration was officiated by Cardinal Antonio Quaracino, who is also the Archbishop of Buenos Aires. The episcopal motto that Bergoglio picked, Miserando atque elegendo, alludes to St. Bede's interpretation of Matthew 9:9-13, which means that he chose him because he viewed him through the compassion lens. His appointment as coadjutor Archbishop of Buenos Aires, which he received on June 3, 1997, gave him the authority to replace Cardinal Quaracino. Bergoglio succeeded Quaracino as Metropolitan Archbishop of Buenos Aires upon his death on February 28, 1998. He promoted pro-life causes, restructured the administrative structures of the archdiocese, inaugurated new parishes, and formed a committee to handle divorces while in this position. The expansion of the church's activity in the Buenos Aires slums was a prominent element of his reign. He increased the number of priests allocated to these neglected regions, and was even named Slum Bishop for his efforts. What did the Pope really say about Prince Harry? We've all been waiting for this moment. We will discover. Pope Francis's reveal about Prince Harry. After Pope Francis revealed some demonic rites recently, there has been conjecture that Prince Harry might be in jeopardy again. There is now further controversy regarding Prince Harry, Pope Francis, and the Devil's Horn. Pope Francis has sparked debates with his recent talks on moral vices, virtues, and the devil's tricks. The Pope is well known for his humility and dedication to change. The Pope characterizes the devil as a cunning serpent that, like the snake that tricked Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden, preys on people's pride and tempts them to sin. Francis says that when people start having bad dreams, they run the danger of falling victim to it. He counsels people to guard their hearts and resist temptation, stressing that talking to the devil is a bad idea since he is more crafty than anybody and will take a price for it. In what way does this relate to Prince Harry? Then, let's go back to 2017 when there was a fuss sparked by an apparently innocent picture of Prince Harry with First Lady Melania Trump. Harry's hand is positioned strangely in the picture. His thumb, ring, and middle fingers are all hidden within his jacket, but his pinky and index fingers are showing. This peculiar motion generated a lot of discussion on the internet, with some theorizing that it may represent a link to the devil. Theories on social media instantly took off. Some said Harry was indicating a demonic symbol, while others made light of the possibility that he was indicating a covert Illuminati motion. When the picture went viral, it eclipsed other noteworthy occasions, including Harry's first date with Meghan Markle. Critics such as Chris Kaufman, Karen Dalton-Ben, and Dotto questioned the unusual hand posture, speculating that it could have some connection to esoteric or evil symbolism. Not everyone, however, had the same opinion. Body language specialist Patty Wood said that although Harry's hand could seem like a devil's horn, it might also be a protective gesture. She pointed out that people often adopt this posture to feel more at ease when they're feeling scared or exposed. Body language expert and former FBI agent Joe Navarro was cautious about drawing too much meaning from the gesture. He maintained that a single picture may only capture a moment in time and cannot always reveal deeper meanings. Navarro thought that the gesture could not have been motivated by evil intentions, but rather by the particular circumstances of the picture session. It's interesting to note that Harry has been seen making such hand motions at previous events, including a summer party in London in 2017 and a speech he gave to RAF recruits in 2010. Wood said that rather than being an indication of something esoteric, these movements may be Harry's way of achieving self-comfort. Navarro concurred, noting that the prince's posture and facial expressions suggested tension, which is typical under pressure. What then is the true meaning of Harry's hand gesture? Is it a coincidence? A clue to esoteric symbolism? Or simply a hint of unease? The debate rages on, with some claiming it has deeper significance and others brushing it off as an overly dramatic interpretation. The teachings of Pope Francis about pride and temptation may provide some clarification. If the Pope is right when he says that the devil is a cunning tempter, then maybe the rumors around Harry's gesture are a reflection of our own uncertainties and concerns. The Pope's advice to resist temptation serves as a helpful reminder that sometimes what seems menacing is really an isolated incident captured on tape. Harry's hand gesture, whether it represents anything important or is merely a funny stance, shows how people often look for deeper meanings in the things that popular individuals do. It's important to consider if we're over-interpreting or whether there is actual truth to be found in a society where seemingly little gestures may spark heated arguments. How do you feel about the hand motion that Harry made? Is it a sign of anything concealed? Or is it simply a strange image? Post your ideas in the comments section below.